Arnab Goswami on The Debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Century Ply and Nippon India Mutual Fund.
Good evening and welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, the unfortunate comment by one person, that too now expelled, has become an opportunity for some people in India to instigate politically. Some people in India, mostly politicians and in the media, are saying now we should learn secularism and human values from Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, they executed 81 people in one day on terror-related charges, mostly by beheading them. In Saudi Arabia, they hang the heads of those they decapitate in public view. I don't know what's going on in India. I think some people in India need a solid reality check. The same people who say Afzal hum sharminda hai and therefore compromise India's internal security now say we should be learning from Saudi Arabia, which carries out mass executions of anyone even suspected of terrorism. What's going on? I know that for some politicians and some people in the media, the Nupur Sharma controversy is an entry point. But my point is, the BJP has acted. It has acted very strongly. It has acted very decisively on Nupur Sharma. They've even thrown her out of the party. What else can they do? The rest is as per the legal process. We have institutions to deal with these things. Institutions that Saudi Arabia does not have. What is the point in suddenly getting gleeful about Saudi Arabia or UAE advising India? We should rather ask whether it's true that there are black sites in the UAE where the Chinese capture and torture Uyghur Muslims. My point is, viewers, you and I, we have to rise above. And there is an Al-Qaeda threat now. We need to be real about the situation. Will terrorist organizations now teach us communal harmony and human rights? Yes, politicians will use the present controversy to target the ruling party, is expected. But will we, you and I, all of us, will we draw the line? Will we say at one point that when it comes to the security and unity of our country, we will unite and answer as one? Or will we force a narrative where India, where over 200 million Muslims have a home, will have to learn about human rights and respect from all from countries like Pakistan and Saudi Arabia? And let's look at it through another prism, viewers. Think about this. There may be people across the world who do not like India's rise. Fact is, despite all the negativity, we handled COVID very, very, very well. China must be hating the fact that our economy is one of the few that's rising. Actually, ask that question to Blinken as well, who lectures us about religious freedom in our country. The Americans must be hating the fact that our economy is growing. We are the fastest growing economy. Our global position on Ukraine is respected. Can we please, I say, please, viewers, not allow one statement by one person, and that too now expelled, to disfigure the true narrative about a country's potential and greatness? I had to say this tonight, viewers, and I ask you, what do you think? The nation wants to know what you think today, viewers. The nation wants to know. Especially when the Al-Qaeda is issuing threats to India. We need to unite for India, ladies and gentlemen. We need to not fan propaganda that enables such threats. That's debate number one. And debate number two this evening. The Kerala gold scam accused has made scathing allegations against the sitting chief minister. Now, what's the morally right thing for Pinarayi Vijayan to do? I ask you. Debate number three tonight. Massive political face-off after Mamta accuses the BJP of fanning separatism. That's debate number three. And here are the headlines this Wednesday evening on the Debate Tonight. States on high alert as the Al-Qaeda threatens to unleash a wave of terror attacks across India. As terror groups take advantage, are some trying to diminish the India story over their internal fights. Gold scam explodes as accused Swapna Suresh names Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and family. Cash bags and biryani vessels with gold. The BJP and the Congress demand Vijayan's resignation over the allegations. Mamta accuses the BJP of fanning separatism. Big fight over the demands for a separate state to be carved out of Bengal.
I'm not thinking about the world record or getting a gold or a quota. I was just doing my process and it happened.
And champion Avani Lakhera wins gold at the parachuting World Cup, shoots world record score to make India really, really proud. And ladies and gentlemen, the Al-Qaeda has put out a threat note warning of suicide attacks across India. It is using an internal issue to radicalize and threaten our nation. And tonight it's time to pick a side. Will those within #Unite for India, or will they once again enable those who threaten the nation with their false propaganda and anti-India agenda? We must take a stand. Let's debate.
Till a week ago, India was the global focus. India's assertion of its independent position on Ukraine and beyond was being complimented.
This is the construct you are trying to impose on me, and I don't accept it. I mean, I don't think it's necessary for me to join this axis or not, and if I'm not joining this, I must be with the other one. I don't accept that.
Economically, the IMF was emphasizing the key role India plays.
India is one of the economies that are growing at a high rate. Even with the small downgrade, growth is projected for this year to be 8.2%. Healthy for India, but also positive in a world where growth slowdown is creating a major problem. India already plays a very important international role.
In matters of global and social welfare, India was garnering praise.
I have the Indian jab in my arms, and a power of good it did me. So many thanks to India. And that has helped India to become what Narendra has called the pharmacy of the world.
India's ties with Gulf nations were at their peak. The first ever joint naval exercise was being held in Jeddah. And then some worked overtime to diminish the India story. Airbrush reality. They maligned India in a bid to target the Prime Minister. Ignoring the democratic and institutional mechanism set in place in India, the US Secretary of State started saying this.
In India, the world's largest democracy and home to a great diversity of faiths, we've seen rising attacks on people in places of worship. The United States will continue to stand up for religious freedom around the world.
But the biggest wake-up call for rising above internal political and ideological fights is the threat by the Al-Qaeda to unleash suicide attacks in Delhi, Mumbai, Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat.
The Al-Qaeda threat using a condemnable remark made by an individual is the second such threat that has been issued against India. Previously, it was on the hijab row. While the agencies are not really downplaying this entire threat letter, they also say that they're not going to rule out the Pakistan hand. In fact, they're indicating that the language that has been used in the threat letter is a clear reflection of ISI's hand.
It's time to unite as a nation.
यह है एंटी खुदा, एंटी इस्लाम और एंटी मानवता रवैया है। केवल हिंसा 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 फैलाने का काम करते हैं। मैं सारे भारत के मजहब के लोगों को अपील करूंगा कि ऐसी हिंसा भरे कार्रवाई का खुलकर विरोध करें।
It's time to stop providing fodder to inimical forces.
जहाँ तक हिंदुस्तान का सवाल है, हिंदुस्तान में दुनिया के सभी धर्मावलंबी रहते हैं और उनकी सामाजिक, आर्थिक, शैक्षणिक, संवैधानिक और धार्मिक स्वतंत्रता और सुरक्षा यहाँ महफूज भी है और मजबूत भी है। जिस तरह से पाकिस्तान प्रायोजित प्रोपेगेंडे के चक्रव्यूह में कुछ लोग फंस रहे हैं, उन्हें एक बात समझना चाहिए कि हिंदुस्तान की एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत की ताकत, अनेकता में एकता की ताकत को कोई कमज़ोर कर ही नहीं सकता।
It's time to stand united against external threats. Let's debate.
And I say today, I would say that this Wednesday, Mohandas Pai, I would like to start with you. And R.K. Mishra is on the debate. Tanveer Ahmed, Monojit Mandal, Pankaj Sharma, General Bakshi, Sushant Sareen and Sandeep Ghosh. I'd say today is a good day. We should take stock. This controversy is sort of gone on. It's simmered. Some people have tried to, reignite the fire. And I think the point is we have institutional mechanisms to deal with these things. And we should stop gloating, Mohandas Pai. Oh, Saudi Arabia is lecturing us. Oh, Qatar is lecturing us. Oh, our relationship with the Arab world will be destroyed. Is this the way to comment? I mean, No. Our relationship with the Arab world will never be the same again. Why will it not be? The Iranian foreign minister is in New Delhi. For God's sake, we are talking crude oil. Some people are celebrating. Why?
Arnab.
Yes, Mohandas Pai is opening tonight. Yeah, Mohandas Pai.
Arnab, the people who seem to be celebrating are what I call empty craniums. They do not understand international diplomacy. They do not understand how nations deal with each other. India's relationship with the Middle East is at an all-time high for the last 10 years. Even the previous UPA government did a lot to improve relationships, and Prime Minister Modi has taken it to a higher level. Now, these countries have a right to protest against anything which they consider as derogatory against holy icons they believe in. They have a right. We can't deny them the right. Nobody can deny the right. They're all sovereign countries. And India has made amends by making sure that the political party takes action against the person who seems to have hurt the feelings of people, whether wittingly or unwittingly. Now, all these people who are gloating, who are saying, point it out, I mean, we must only pity them and, show up their ignorance and how they are, gloating because they got no stuff in their head. Let us understand one thing. Nations' relationships are built over time. It is not a one-time event that happens somewhere. And nations deal with each other in a very mature manner. We are a very large economy. The Middle East has a stake in us. We have a stake in the Middle East. Yes, they have given a statement against what happened in this country. And the government of India, the political party has made amends. And we should get along. Our relationship is not going to be spoiled.
But what is the issue then? Why are some people trying to drag it? RK, what's the point here? I mean, what is...
No, because they're showing their
what is anyone trying to gain here?
They're showing their stupidity. They're showing their biases. They're showing their selectivity. Because they believe anything anybody criticizes will bring down Prime Minister Modi, will bring down the BJP. Because they are the same people in 2019 who predicted that the government is going to change. They're very disappointed.
But then the question becomes this, RK. Yes. The question then becomes this: will we start having to learn communal harmony and equal rights from the Al-Qaeda? And the fact is, the Nupur comment is being dealt with very strongly. Are there some people, RK, who are instigating within India against India?
People who
are
doing this thing in their desire to oppose Modi and Modi government, they forget that they are also living in India and Indian citizens. Anything which harms India is going to harm them. So I think either they have mentally challenged or they are so taken over by this hatred against the current dispensation, whatever it is. I think this is sad, and this is how countries get divided. This is how countries get in trouble. But I am not worried about, we have our friends in various places, and we find out the governments in Middle East are completely at ease and at peace with what India action has taken. What happened was unfortunate. Our spokesperson and anybody against any religion, I mean, come on, keep it to yourself. This is not something to be done, and it was done was wrong. The government and the party has taken action, and that action, and then there are courts. But anybody who's gloating, I think, should be considered anti-national. And these are the people who essentially needs to be dealt with more sternly than the people like Al-Qaeda and all, which are empty threats. This is ISI propaganda, and I think they have done it past. We don't need to worry much about it. Our agencies are capable of it. But the people who are gloating on it, they should be taken care of.
I agree with you. And you know, General Bakshi, I want to bring you in along with Tanveer and Monojit. You know, there are, unlike the countries which jumped to issue statements against India, whenever there is a problem in India, there is a due process which is followed. We have an institutional mechanism. Saudi Arabia does not have an institutional mechanism. There's a process. Everything, there's a process. For the hijab controversy, there's a process. For the Gyanvapi issue, there is a process. There is a high court. There are Article 25 of the Constitution. There are distinct courts to deal with it. I mean, what's this excitement, Tanveer? Oh, Modi government, oh, terrible, oh, India is divided internally, India is bad to Muslims. What is this? One comment from one person, and you want to lumpanize the country. Why? And now the Al-Qaeda jumps in. What will we do now? Will we change our line and rise above, or will we continue the same way, Tanveer?
Arnab, not a single person from any political party is absolutely celebrating or endorsing what Al-Qaeda said.
Of course they are. Rahul Gandhi is. No, of course they are. He says, divided internally, India becomes weak externally. What does he mean? What does he mean? What does he mean? What does he mean? Let me ask you one question. 1 minute, Tanveer, I want to ask you one question. I want to ask you something. Tanveer, listen to me. Tanveer, when a person who has the Congress party support in the last elections threatens a Hindu genocide, does Rahul Gandhi open his mouth? No. But when a BJP spokesperson makes a comment like this, the person is thrown out, expelled, suspended from the party. So I don't understand, what is this going on? Is it a joke? I mean, you know what's happening. People, look at our position in the world after Ukraine. Look at our growth rate. Look at our economy. And look at our trade with the Gulf Cooperation Council, increased by 59%. Look at all that. Why the negativity, Tanveer? Tell me. Can anyone tell me tonight on the program why this negativity?
Arnab, absolutely there is no negativity.
Of course there is.
Arnab, absolutely there is no negativity.
Of course there is. What
That
do you
stupid
think?
comment which had really come from the spokesperson of BJP is absolutely condemnable, and every person with sane mind have to really unequivocally have to condemn what Nupur
No, so
Sharma
they have
has
done
said.
that. So
And
done. No,
secondly,
so
talking
it's
about the
done.
Arab region,
So
they are
what's the
Muslims,
issue? Why
and they
create
do have
this?
their
No, why
attachment towards
create this?
Islam.
Why create
They
this
have their
narrative
attachment
that
towards
we had
Islam.
to? Why
They have
create this
really
false
bought-
narrative?
They have brought this note to the notice of.
No, why create this false narrative?
Arnab,
and
there is no absolute. Arnab,
why
what
this?
narrative are you talking
no,
about?
why
If
create
Arab
this
nation
false
have really
narrative
asked the government to come and
the
answer,
government of India
they should
and
have really taken more stringent action.
No. Is there no respect for your own country? I mean, come on, Monojit Mandal is on the debate. GD Bakshi, please. Is there no respect? Our country has acted on its own. Why are we so happy and delighted? Oh, you know, our relationship with the Arab countries will go down. They have leverage over India. We will lose the leverage. India has been pinned down. Narendra Modi has been pinned down. What is this going on? What is this childishness, Monojit?
Violence against Hindus in Bangladesh, didn't we protest?
What is this childishness?
No, absolutely. Arnab, let me begin by saying that Nupur Sharma does not represent India, neither does BJP and their bigotry politics. BJP has got so many big bigots like Nupur Sharma. Some are sitting in the parliament. Some are even in the government.
Come to the point, come to the point.
They do not
Why are people
represent
gloating?
what India is.
Why have some people been gloating?
Right? Nobody is gloating. Nobody is gloating. Al-Qaeda is a terrorist organization banned across the globe. Nobody is gloating over that.
Of course.
Let's be clear on that. But India, the country as a nation, has got every right to express ourselves.
No, we've already
the
done
views,
that.
presented by that particular spokesperson. Unfortunately, I debated with her. The problem is that these people are highly educated elites in the society. Look at her academic record. I'm astounded when I see these people coming on television day in and day out and making this kind of comment.
But it's all
and
right.
she, let me tell you, she has been a habitual offender. She made this kind of comments even against our state, Bengal. She tried to spark off riots in Bengal.
You know, you're overhyping it. All that.
has tolerated
No.
people
Monojit,
like Nupur Sharma
everyone on 2 versus 2.
far too long.
Monojit, you know, you're overhyping it, and I'm sorry to have to inform you that
these people.
Allow me. You're
BJP harbored
Monojit,
lost, sheltered and harbored by a party like BJP.
Monojit, I want to tell you one thing, and I'm handing over to GD Bakshi. I'm getting everyone in. Let's be a little realistic here, okay? I know that you probably thought you've got this great opportunity. Now we'll catch the BJP. Now we'll run down our country. Things have been too good for too long of late. The economy is going well. We fought COVID. We said, didn't we? 1 minute, Monojit. Now it's my turn. Thank you, Monojit. Now it's my turn. 1 minute. Thank you, Monojit. And you thought, oh, Ukraine. You know, Ukraine will pin everything down. Oh, petrol prices will go up. But they brought down the petrol prices also. Oh, there's been no real crisis for a long time. Oh, thank God, Nupur Sharma said something like that. Let's all jump in. What did you gain? This overhype was not required. I feel it was well planned. I feel it was orchestrated, GD Bakshi, with an intention, General Bakshi. What's your thought?
You know, Arnab, the Indic civilization is one of the most tolerant in outlook. It is summed up by the Vedic stanza, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. The truth is one, the wise call him by many names. All right, there was an aberration. The lady in question herself apologized. The government has taken stringent action. Her party has taken stringent action. What are we required to do now? Slit her throat? Put her before a firing squad? Enact blasphemy laws? You know, I mean, for God's sake, we've got our constitution. We've got methods of dealing with it. Are we now to learn tolerance from Al-Qaeda?
Absolutely nobody is asking for it.
Can I please, sir? I did not interrupt you. I did not interrupt you.
In India, if some
sir, can I finish what I have to say?
You're an honorable man.
Can you please stop screaming in my ear?
Nobody is asking for it.
No, so that is right. Then hear out an honorable man.
You can't really make a statement.
Hear out an honorable man
every time, and you can't get away like this.
I'm not Mr. GD Bakshi. I'm General GD Bakshi.
Respect you.
Excuse me.
You can't really make a passing remark every time.
Excuse me.
Man must speak reasonable as well, sir.
What passing remark? What passing remark? Do we have to learn tolerance from Al-Qaeda? Do we have to learn how to look after minorities from Pakistan, from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar? What is the record of these countries? What is the record of these countries? Look what has happened to the minorities in Pakistan. And you see, I will certainly like to learn from somebody who has a more tolerant tradition. But when you take a look at Al-Qaeda, and you know what the Al-Qaeda has said? Excuse me, first listen to me. My friend, listen, you are not...
Look at the external threat, Tanveer, change your line. Look at the external threat, for God's sake.
First understand what I am saying.
No, understand the external threat, Tanveer, there's no point. No, 1 minute, Tanveer, let him complete, let him complete, Tanveer, a minute. Tanveer, please, I began by saying, look at the external threat, for God's sake.
Why do I need to talk about Pakistan?
Arnab, the Al-Qaeda has threatened us with Ghazwa-e-Hind.
My grandfather
You want to
was a freedom
support
fighter.
that?
He fought along with Subhash Chandra Bose.
I am telling you, the Al-Qaeda has threatened
to hell
you
with Pakistan.
with
I'm an Indian.
Ghazwa-e-Hind.
I'm going to die in this country.
Do
My
you want
children
to
are going to
support
live
that?
in this country and going to die for this country. To hell with Pakistan.
The
They are not Pakistanis.
Al-Qaeda.
Don't talk to me and
Let
don't
General Bakshi
compare me
complete
with
his point.
Pakistan.
Tanveer, you've been interrupting for the last 4 minutes. Tanveer, can I be alright? Tanveer, you've been interrupting for 4 minutes. Please just wait a minute.
To what I'm saying,
No, you also need to hear the other side. You started interrupting after 30 seconds.
Listen to
I
me.
am more citizen than anybody else. I'm an equal citizen.
You're making a rhetorical and not a logical point.
He just started shouting in between.
Yeah, you don't need to shout, Tanveer, please. We were having a good debate. Tanveer, please stop, yeah.
Please understand what I'm saying.
No, Arnab,
I am
that does
trying
not
to tell
compare
you.
General
with
Bakshi is
Pakistan.
talking about Pakistan in the context of terror. Tanveer, stop it now, please. Yeah? We're having a good debate. What are you doing? You're behaving. Please don't do this.
Then Ghazwa-e-Hind. You are for Ghazwa-e-Hind? Are you going to support Ghazwa-e-Hind? No, then please. Then we are saying the same thing. I'm saying, do we have to learn tolerance from Al-Qaeda, the biggest terrorist organization on the globe? The Al-Qaeda threatened India with Ghazwa-e-Hind.
No, they won't change.
And conquest of India. Would you like to support that? I think we need to give it back.
I think things have become the reason.
Don't want to hurt
the reason I'm doing this debate tonight. A minute, please, and I want Sandeep and Sushant.
I don't want my country
I get your point. You see, there are various reasons I'm doing this debate tonight, and people ask me, what do you have to say about what was said on the other channel? So I said, see, I founded that channel. What is going on after I left, I'm not responsible for. But I certainly feel the remarks were unfortunate. But now things have become serious. Sushant and Sandeep, we need to look at it this way. There is a certain level of opportunism that we are seeing. There are two kinds of opportunism I'm seeing, and I think Sandeep wrote a fantastic piece on it today. The first opportunism I'm seeing is of people who are saying our relationship with the Arab world will be spoiled, or that the Arab world has leverage over us, which is why it's forcing its hand. I don't think so. We acted on our own. Nobody can force India to take or India's ruling party to take a decision which is contrary to its fundamental beliefs. So nobody's forced anyone. But why should we even say that these countries have leverage? I thought it would be more reasonable, Sushant, to maybe argue that look at the hypocrisy of these countries who are preaching to us. I mean, UAE allegedly runs black sites for China to torture and interrogate Uyghur Muslims. And Xi Jinping in 2019 actually thanked the UAE for their quote-unquote valuable support in cracking down on Uyghurs, which the UAE reciprocated, reaffirming its continued support on the cause. And Saudi Arabia persecutes Shia Muslims. In 2019 or 2018, they actually they executed 35 in one day. Indonesia, it deported Uyghurs to China in 2019. We as Indians should be saying, listen, nobody can lecture us, don't lecture us, we know what we are doing. We have more than 200 million Muslims calling India their home. But unfortunately, Sushant, I am seeing these $500 pieces being written, India has been taught a lesson. Why?
So, Arnab, I'll make three quick points. Not very quick, but I just hope people keep their cool and just don't interrupt me. I know my friend Sandeep won't, but about the others, I can't be sure. So now there are three angles to it. One is political, diplomatic, and security. On the diplomatic angle, I think we are being a little too harsh on the Arab world, simply because there are two or three reasons why the Arabs have reacted the way they have. One, I think it was a lot of propaganda which happened, and they found that they had to respond because it was allegedly an act of blasphemy, and for them it was a political issue also, that if they did not respond, they would have some issues. So they remonstrated, they protested, they did what they did. The second issue for the Arab world was that, look, they have scrupulously, over at least the last 15-20 years, I can say, they have scrupulously avoided any kind of comment on India's internal affairs. I won't say that about Iran, but it's certainly true of the Arab world. And the reason why they don't say it is, and this was informed to me by a colleague of mine today, because they have their own skeletons in the cupboard and they say that, look, you handle your affairs the way you want to handle it. We don't want to interfere. But in this particular case, what happens is that because of the large diaspora, especially the Pakistani lot, who create problems out there, they feel that some of the social tensions in India can creep into their countries and create a law and order problem. So they have to be seen to be acting. The third issue is, of course, an emotional issue, which I completely understand, but also somewhat ill-informed, because I think that all this alleged blasphemy which Nupur Sharma is being accused of, either you say Zakir Naik is equally culpable for that blasphemy, or you say that Nupur Sharma, maybe she said something she should not have said the way she said it, but to say that she blasphemed, I think it's a little over the top.
Not get into
now, this
that,
is
yeah.
the diplomatic angle. So that's why I don't want to get into that debate. But there is the political angle. The political angle is that ever since the Modi government has come in, because you can't defeat them politically, you have sought external intervention. You have sought it from the Europeans, you have sought it from the Americans, you have sought it from the Arab world. The Pakistanis have been trying to agitate the Arab world that you please intervene in India because of this, anti-Muslim policies, etc., etc. Kashmir, the Arab world and the Muslim world by and large has stayed away from it, right? This time an issue happened and both within, people got a handle to beat up the government with, and outside, Pakistan used it and lashed onto it. And finally is the security angle, which is the Al-Qaeda angle. Now, Al-Qaeda, like any other opportunistic organization, has cashed in on an emotional issue. It's not that the Al-Qaeda was not having India in its crosshairs. It's not as though Al-Qaeda has been keeping quiet over the last many years and not been issuing threats. But look, let's face it, the Al-Qaeda, at least as far as India is concerned, is not even in double digits. And I'm giving you figures from the security forces. Should we take this threat seriously? Certainly take it seriously, because it is a terrorist organization. It has inimical aims as far as India is concerned. But should we be, getting all head up about it? I don't think so. I think, as a former general Dhillon said once, Tiny Dhillon said once, kitne ghazi aaye aur kitne ghazi mare gaye, wo hamare ko pata hai. So I'm not so terrified of these, clowns, Al-Qaeda and these other fellows. So, but nevertheless, there is the social tensions within India will become a kind of a lightning rod for all these groups to try and exploit the situation.
For them, yes.
Get recruits.
Sushant.
The ISIS
Sushant,
tried
for
it,
them,
Al-Qaeda
yes.
tried it, many of the Indian jihadist groups are trying it. So I think...
We separate the two. I say the external part is one, but what Sandeep wrote about today was more the internal part. Was more people who feel that this is an opportunity to cue the narrative or tilt the narrative in a certain direction. So the more you extrapolate out of the Nupur Sharma controversy, the more you drag it, right? The more you hype it, then you can play down everything else. You can play down the economic recovery. You can play down our GDP figures. You can play down everything else. You can play down every achievement of the government or every achievement of the country by making this the numero uno issue to create a narrative about India to the world, and I have a problem with it. I have a problem, and I thought today at least people like Pankaj and everyone would come and say, no. I think we are overdoing it. But they're still not saying so. My problem is, Sandeep, would you like to take this forward, please?
Yeah, Arnab, that's the point which I think Sushant made and General Bakshi made earlier. Today, the single point agenda of the opposition, or I will say anybody who is not a supporter of Mr. Modi, is how to bring him down, how to pull him down. I call it the PhD syndrome, pull him down. So for that, they are willing to malign him and the Indian government in any which way, and not only underplay the achievements, totally negate the achievements. You see, we are the people internally who criticize this COVID management the most. We are the people even right now going on saying how many deaths or whatever it is. Whereas rest of the world, there are several, respectable people who have come and, said that, India's management has been great. Just now you were playing in terms of the economic... let me finish. Let me finish. You'll get your chance. Let me finish.
Let him finish.
So this is
remarks. Pankaj, let him complete his point. Let him complete his point. Let him complete his point.
That is the situation. Now, not a single person I know of have justified what Nupur Sharma has said. Now, also actions have been taken against her. Please recommend what more needs to be done against her. But that does not mean to punish Nupur Sharma. You sacrifice the country or sacrifice the country's prestige or impression. You do that. And that is the whole problem. One of the problems with this Arab country issue is, Arnab, where people have jumped in, is because people were very unhappy of Mr. Modi making the progress and foray in the relationship with the Arab countries. If you recall some of your colleagues, when Mr. Modi took over in 2014 and he started his foreign visits, they said, let's see when he is going to visit Saudi. But Mr. Modi did all of that. He went to the Gulf, he built relationship. Can you think of Saudi giving a passage to India to fly to Israel? That is the kind of progress we have made, because also the Gulf is changing. So this is one area, therefore this has come like a God's gift that, okay, if the Gulf has today taken umbrage, and what are the reasons, Sushant would know better. I have certain theories as to why the Gulf acted in chorus, in unison, and then people like Indonesia jumped into the bandwagon. So they are treating this as and that is the tragedy, Arnab. I don't want to name a person, a spiritual leader coming from an organization which is totally apolitical as a matter of principle. This gentleman, I don't want to drag him into controversy. He had been invited to Harvard as a minister in residence for a year. He, in a recent lecture, said, I was aghast that in a university like this, no other country's student speaks anything ill of their country, or if anybody speaks, others pull him down. Or somebody else speaks. Whereas the Indian students, they think it's almost fashionable. And, it's a cool thing. He used the term cool to be criticizing your government. And that is something we have a problem. Last point I'll say, anything you say, people will tell you, oh, Mr. Modi went and said this abroad. My simple rejoinder to them, okay, on one hand, you call him a chaiwala, say he's uneducated and everything. He's a first generation politician. Whereas the others are fourth generation politicians, studied in Oxbridge and the rest of it. What is the culture they're bringing in? You go abroad and say India is a bad place, is a terrible place, don't go there. Don't you have anything to positive to say about your country? That's a tragedy.
No, this has been a constant thing. Yeah, Pankaj, I want to bring you in. This has been a constant thing. And I think there is a degree of great discomfort that people have, Pankaj, at the growing strides of the country. And I also would like you to think about one more thing, viewers. There is a section, just taking off from what you said, Sandeep, within and outside, which wants to see trouble brewing in India. They get a kick out of it. Pankaj, they get a kick out of it. And they will stop at nothing to build an alternative narrative to sort of vilify India, to strike at our soft power and our national security. And I think, Pankaj, that's a very selfish thing to do. It's a very, very selfish thing to do. I mean, it's deplorable the way Rahul Gandhi talks about the country whenever he's outside the country. I mean, he may not be knowledgeable enough, but he cannot be pardoned for his lack of awareness every time. Right?
What did Modi ji say in 2014?
That's precisely what I was saying.
No, you see, your problem is with Modi. No, the problem is with Modi. No, Pankaj, you proved it right. Your problem is with Modi, and you now have a problem with India. You have a problem with India because India has elected Modi. So you have a problem with India and Modi. That's the problem.
Problem with India, and I don't have problem with Modi. How can I have problem with India or India's Prime Minister? But the point is that India has faced enough of shame.
He's an uneducated person. But your Rahul Gandhi is a fourth generation
India has
politician.
faced enough of shame, and the nation has paid a huge price from time to time.
I mean, I want to bring Mohandas Pai back in this. This is too much.
Despite
I want to bring Mohandas Pai in on this. I tell you, viewers, I tell you. No, I will not take this now. I will not take this now. I will not take this now. I say this to you. Pankaj.
From the world community so that it is ensured that Al-Qaeda elements don't go unchecked. That's a different thing.
Pankaj, listen to me. People like you want to blame Modi for everything. You will even blame Modi for the Al-Qaeda. Just a minute, please. Let me complete. Can I complete, please? Can you be quiet for a minute, please? I'm not. No.
I just want to ask one simple question. Why are we facing such an atmosphere?
We are facing no atmosphere. I tell you, what atmosphere? What atmosphere? We are not facing an atmosphere. No, what atmosphere are you facing? RK is also coming in right now. But RK, before that, Mohandas Pai, please. What atmosphere are we facing? One minute. GD Bakshi is saying something. What atmosphere are we facing?
Pankaj has been outside India. Has Pankaj been outside India? He is so worried about India outside. Mr. Pankaj, India outside in the best shape it has been last 70 years.
No, you don't know. You don't know.
It is not Rahul Gandhi.
You have no idea.
Please,
you have no
I don't
idea
think you have been in India.
About us.
Listen, I am in the business of dealing with the diplomatic and political management outside India. I am part of the Carnegie Endowment for Global Peace, which is a global organization, and I meet more people who worry about India more than Indians worry about India. Because Indians are the ones who are trying to denigrate India. Indians are the ones who find problem. Modi is not India. India is much bigger than Modi or Rahul Gandhi. And in our own desire to put Modi down, in our own desire to put Modi down, we are putting India down. Please reflect on this.
Nobody is trying to bring him down.
No, you are. I want Mohandas Pai also in on this, please. No, I think you are. Mohandas Pai, please. Yeah, Mohandas Pai. Just 1 minute, Mr. Pankaj. Mohandas Pai.
Arnab, in the last 20 years, India's esteem is the highest in the world today. We are a part of the Quad, and we have been respected for standing up to Europe in the Ukraine issue as an independent country. Will you please be quiet, my dear chap? Please be quiet, my dear chap. You don't know what you're talking. Please be quiet. You don't know what you're talking. Please be quiet. I made Arnab
through your mouth.
Arnab,
don't
tell this guy to shut up, Arnab.
Yeah, one minute, Mohandas Pai speaking, please. Thank you.
You know, Arnab, India's esteem is at a height. We go travel, we meet people, we talk to businessmen, we talk to think tanks, and all of them are unanimous that India is now on the ascendancy, and India is being looked upon as a global democracy, a global power, and that's why we are part of the Quad, and that's why the Indo-Pacific has been so named. The Indo-Pacific has been named. Yes, we have this unfortunate incident, and I think the Arab countries have rightly expressed their concern about this statement. Government of India had made amends and will go on from there. There's no need for any of these elements in India to rejoice or to bring India down like they have done, because none of them have helped build this country. All these critics, none of them have helped build this country. You must ask all of them who criticize and laugh and gloat, what have they done to build the brand for India? Nothing, zero. All they're doing is pulling India down, criticizing India for no reason, without data, without facts. And then they quote irrelevant stuff all over the world. They must go out, meet people, talk to them and find out what they think of India. And I think India is respected very much. In the last 3 months, we have the highest number of foreign dignitaries visiting India.
India was
visiting India,
always.
And why will they come to India if they don't respect us?
No, I know. Taking this forward. Just a minute. I wanted to bring in a thought tonight, and that is this: that is this happening accidentally, coincidentally, or with planning, by design? Sushant. My point. Yeah, General Bakshi wants to come in. Is this happening by first? Sushant, just a minute. General Bakshi first, then coming to you, Sushant. My view, somewhere I think. Many geostrategists are now of the view that things could be happening out of design because we are uniquely poised, General Bakshi. Yes. After Ukraine, after Ukraine, we are very uniquely poised, strategically, militarily, economically. We're very uniquely poised, so there would be many forces wanting to spoil our image globally.
That is the crux of the issue, Arnab. That is why we are an isolated, regrettable incident against, that is the crux, the nub of the issue. An isolated, regrettable incident. Sir, I am GD Bakshi, not you. Thank you. So, an isolated, regrettable incident against which suitable action has been initiated, has been used to orchestrate a global outcry to try and defame India, to try and run down the Indic civilization, to paint it in the blackest and vilest of colors. Look at what China is doing to its Uyghur Muslim minority. Do you hear a squeak from some of these worthies? Not a squeak. And as Arnab rightly pointed out, they are running torture chambers where the Chinese can torture the hell out of these Uyghur Muslims. Do you hear a word? Because China uses its economic clout. And just because we are tolerant, we said yes, there has been a mistake, the world has piled on to us in a fashion that is clearly orchestrated.
I think more than the world piling on to us, General Bakshi, I have a feeling that some Indians are piling on to our own country.
From the lines
we have got every right to express ourselves, to put up the case for India, the real India, the India that is not represented by the current political dispensation.
Well, you may not. Sushant,
saying that, look at, this is a political party.
Arnab, if he keeps quiet, I can talk. I can't
this
talk
kind of
he has to keep quiet.
Not just one, but hundreds of them. Some of them are even in the parliament. So if we express ourselves to the world,
you express yourself in India, sir. Unlike, I just bring in Sushant for a minute, please. Sushant, last word. Sushant.
So, Arnab, unless it's Mr. Mandal's point that lynching political opponents and murdering them by the dozens in Bengal is the idea of India and how India's image is going to be projected abroad, then he's entitled to that views, but I don't think that is the way it is. Second point I wanted to make is that let's understand one thing, Arnab, and very clearly. The anti-India narrative around the world is not driven by lobbies outside India. It is primarily driven by lobbies inside India. These are very identifiable people, and they are the ones who have created this entire narrative. They have been doing their chest beating and all of that. Over the years, some of it has started filtering in. After all, your window to the world is, for example, your English language press. Now, when economists write something, it's not some Gora writing in Economist. It's some Indian lackey of theirs who is not named, but he's writing that piece. And he's one of the usual suspects. So everybody then latches on to Economist and then blows it out of proportion. The people who work for Western media are of a particular persuasion. So that narrative has been built, and we have been remiss in checking that narrative. But having said that, the design is primarily Indian. But then what happens is that sometimes there is an unfortunate incident which is then latched on by the other enemies of India across the borders, who then blow it out of proportion, who create these Twitter storms and these toolkits and what have you, and create this, this sentiment and overwhelming kind of a sentiment that some grave kind of crisis is taking place in India. Which is not the case. We are a country of 1.3 billion people. Something bad is going to happen in some corner of this country. True. We have our share of crazy people. For example, the Americans have their share of crazy people who take guns and go about shooting little kids. And American political system is so dysfunctional that despite 19 kids being shot a couple of weeks back, hundreds of other people dying in gun violence, they are not able to control gun violence.
No, how does that work? So the point is,
but the point which I'm trying to make is
I think
partly it is
The point is, Sushant.
Arnab, partly it is entirely driven from within India, but then when an accidental kind of a outburst happens, people latch on to it and then blow it out.
I think just one point I want to say at the end. We've had enough debate about this controversy. I just wanted to do this debate to say that now it's over. There's no more need to debate it. Let the institutional process take care of it. Let's talk about other things which truly make India great. Ladies and gentlemen, from the other side, from cash bags to biryani vessels full of cash, there are such grave allegations against Pinarayi Vijayan, but for some reason in Kerala he refuses to act. His party is protecting him. The allegations put out by Swapna Suresh really need to be debated, and that's what I'll do on the other side, so please don't go away. Big controversy in Kerala coming up next.
Stopping fire from spreading is difficult, but not impossible. Now with firewall technology, Century Ply saves you from fire.
Enroll in any of REVA's wide range of courses.